Alright, so I'm here with my friend Dylan over here. Today we're going to do a comparison video of the Invert Mini and Dangerous Part G4. They're both great markers. We're going to compare the definite points of the markers. Okay, so first category is packaging. Let's open these bad boys up. Just so you guys are aware, these are our actual markers. He's got the Invert Mini. He's had it for a couple months. I've got the Dangerous Part G4. He got it in a couple days ago. So, with padding, this one comes with a top layer of foam, good for protection. Also, the box opens up from the top flip, doesn't just open up straight, and has a handle on this side for easy carrying. So for general packaging, we're going to have to give this category to the G4, okay? Alright, now that we open it up, take the markers out, and we can go ahead and screw on the barrels. Alright, so here are the two markers. Okay, second category is contents of packaging. The Invert Mini wins this section.
Alright, so for contents, we got extra parts. We got lube, dent kits, O-rings and screws, and a bunch of Allen keys. It also comes with a barrel plug and an 11-inch barrel.
12-inch barrel. The G4 comes with some stickers, but that's not really major. Barrel plug, pretty much all the same, but the Invert Mini comes with a nice case and barrel plug and some lube, detents, everything you need pretty much. So there's just a great little kit to carry around. The G4 comes with little plastic bags that tear easily, so I'd recommend getting your own little toolbox, but the Invert Mini comes with that automatic. Alright, so for the next section, we've got the board inside the gun. This section goes to the G4 because both boards are similar. They have all four of the same firing modes. They have semi, PSB 3-shot, Millennium ramping, and they have NXL full auto. So for the firing modes, they have the same things, but the G4 board has also further customization such as dwell, ramp activation speed, and max and least rate of fire. So it's easier to customize, and also you can edit the board simply by holding down the trigger and turning on the gun. The Invert Mini is a little bit more complicated, where you need to open up through the front grip frame. Remember, this is where over here is where the board, because the back is where the regulator is in the Invert Mini. Okay, next section is the macro line and ASA. So the macro line on the G4 does come out the side, so it's a little bit in your way, but the ASA is pretty good. But we're going to have to give this section to the Invert Mini.
Alright, so obviously there is no macro line because it's going through the grip frame, so it prevents leaks more often than the G4.
Correct. And there's also no macro line to get in your way of your hand or anything that you ever need to tighten or put any new fittings or any thread tape. So this section goes to the Invert Mini. Next section is the feed neck. Both guns come with a clamping feed neck, so there's nothing to complain. A lot of guns come with just basic tube feed neck, and they're terrible, so you might have to sand down your loader. For these two, you don't have to sand down your loader, but we're going to have to give this section to the G4, because as you guys can see, the feed neck is low rise, meaning your loader is going to be a couple, maybe like a quarter inch shorter. Some people like that better. They like the style. And also the feed neck, I don't know if his does, but it actually spins around, so you can edit it where you want it. His doesn't. And you could adjust the size of it simply by twisting. For his, you need an Allen key. Alright, next category is the bolt system. Both bolts are pretty similar, except his has a spring and mine's an O-ringless bolt. The reason we gave it a tie, because mine is easier to manufacture, since you can just take it out simply with an Allen key. You can lube it up, put it back in, since it's only 2 parts O-ringless bolt. But his, it's a little bit more complicated to take out. It's got a spring, but the Invert Mini has no known problems of bolt stick, and the G4 is known for possibilities of bolt stick. So that's why it balances each other out, and we made it a tie. Also, the next section is the barrel. The G4 may be marked as a 14-inch barrel on websites, but don't get yourself wrong. It's actually a 13-inch barrel. The Invert Mini comes with a 12-inch barrel, and we compared them, and the style of them is extremely similar. They have about the same bore sizes, the same style of porting, and the back gets a little bit wider to match the size of the gun on each other's barrels. So 1 inch of a barrel doesn't make much of a difference. So that's why the barrel category is tied. Now for the color availability. As you can see, I got the purple, which is one of the exclusive colors that you can get on ANSgear.com. There's a lot of different colors you can get for the G4. I think there's about 15, but this category has to go to the Mini.
Alright, so obviously my color is dust red, and there's many different colors on ANS Gear, so it's really hard to get a different color, or the same color as someone else.
Yeah, this one, it's really nice because it comes with many different colors. It also comes with colors with special anodizing graphics on the marker, and even fade 2 or 3 colors from barrel to marker. So there's a lot of different customization. A G4, it's always the same types of colors, just different parts and different anodizing. So that's why the section goes to the Invert Mini. The trigger, both come with a pretty nice trigger. Not need to upgrade because they're both made of metal. They're not plastic. This section is going to go to the G4 though, because it's got a curved trigger instead of a more straight trigger, which is more comfortable for walking in general. It's also got a 4-point adjustment, so it's easier to get the trigger exactly how you want. Now there's nothing wrong with the Invert Mini's trigger, it's just most people like a curved trigger better, but triggers can be upgraded for the Invert Mini for about $25-30, so that's not that big of a problem. The size of the marker itself goes to the Mini.
Alright, so it's basically 1 inch less than the G4, so there's not really a big deal to it.
It's 2 inches if you include the barrel, but if there's no inches, if there's no barrel from reg to the back tip, this is 7 3/4 inches. The invert is 6 3/4 inches, and the barrel is a 13-inch with a 12-inch barrel. So the length, it's not that major of an importance, but if you're a front player, you probably want more of the Invert Mini because you can play more close quarters and really hug your bunker without your barrel sticking out and someone shooting it. Very last category is the weight of the actual marker. The G4 can't really be compared to in weight, sadly, because it's one of the lightest markers on the actual market. It weighs at about 1.7 pounds with the barrel, with the speed neck, the wraps ASA, and the battery inside. Although it is lighter than the Invert Mini, the Invert Mini weighs about 2.5 pounds, so it's not like weight's going to be that big of an issue. So it's still a pretty light marker and great for fun players who need to get from point A to point B really fast. So in general, like many comparison videos, we can't say which one is better. We can just say there's different likabilities to them, and each person should pick their favorite marker and should ask other people for their experiences. It all matters about where you play, but it doesn't restrict to it. Front players can use the G4, but I'd probably recommend the Invert Mini because it's just smaller marker, quicker, and easier to hug your bunker with. G4 is probably great for about mid players and back players, but not saying it's bad for front players. And the Invert Mini can also be used for back players, but you might want to upgrade the barrel a little bit to make it a little bit more accurate. Same thing with the G4, you can upgrade the barrel. Alright, thanks guys.